I was wondering, did I did the wrong thing in trying to do everything correctly? Sometimes you always wonder yourself, why in the world did I do this and this just so I can not just not get rewarded, but get nothing in return. Okay, let's forget about getting rewards. Sometimes you want to do things just for the better of society, but most of the time you try to do a good deed, whether it's your family, friends, society, you name it. Let's say you're not even expecting rewards. You're not expecting anything. You're just expecting a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of not just like a thank you, because obviously that's okay. That's a way too cheap. But let's say at least an appreciation for your dedication, hard work, at least some encouragement to do your own goals. But in reality, that's not the case at all. Whether your boomer parents ask you a lot about a lot from you, and you do everything you can, and you're still not getting gratitude, you're not getting appreciation. That just tells you that one, it's time to get away. It's time to really flee the home. Doesn't matter if you're comfortable. You don't have to leave your town. Sometimes that's not really affordable. It's not very recommended. If you have a stability in a specific town, and just stay there. Just keep a distance from your family. When you keep giving a lot for your family, they're just going to really get used to it. They're not really going to have that conscious of being aware that you're doing everything you can just to make sure everything's going slowly and make sure things are going well for them so everybody can be comfortable. But once things go off the chart and things like what happened to me yesterday does really tell you that there's never going to be a gratitude, there's never going to be appreciation. It's kind of like you're already expected to help out. And in top of that, they don't even support your dreams. They're not even supporting your goals or desires. They're always criticizing you. They're always critiquing you for having a very different mentality. Sometimes, boomer parents specifically, they come from Latin America. Latin American parents like money, but at the same time, they don't have a basic idea of how to keep it balanced, between kids and money. And that's something I started to really realize. I'm not sure about American or European family values, but sometimes in the Latino community, yes, families are very well connected, but it's not all roses and peaches. It's basically a lot of eternal conflicts. Even between the siblings, between the parents, between the cousins. I'm very grateful that I don't have any more cousins around me because basically, I enjoy my cousins just for a certain time, but luckily I don't have none of them living in my state or in the country. So basically, what my advice for people listening to the video is do help your parents if they need it, if they do something for you. Don't expect to get rewarded. Do not expect to get an appreciation or a gratitude because of a lot of parents. I don't know if it's everybody. Sometimes the boomer parents believe that not only your help is necessary, but it's enough. I mean, it's never enough because apparently, just because they gave you life, they brought you into this world. It's more of a you have the kids have to show appreciation for the parents more than anything else, and even sometimes parents do want you to put them as on the top priorities. That's what I've been noticing about my situation is you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can desire whatever you want. You're never going to have that little bit of a support or little bit of guidance unless it's something that's suitable for them. Even career wise, career wise, my parents just wanted me to go into university, get a specific career that I had no passion or no interest, just because it was a promising career that could really bring you up to the six-figure income so they can benefit. See, I'm connecting all the patterns. This is why I'm very regretful now. I'm in my 30s. So being in my 30s has really, began to realize that it's time for me to move on. I have to keep a distance from all siblings, parents, cousins. You know, this is why I'm really deciding either get the apartment or move to Spain. Spain is something that has been in my mind for a very long time, as I have a lot of Spanish connections. or a lot of connection with Spain. So I'm just trying to make a final decision because honestly, I already know, I already saw that. Yeah, I'm glad I could help, but I yesterday when I was doing the video, like I wasn't mad or anything. I'm very grateful that I could help. I'm grateful that I still have some money saved. But no gratitude, no appreciation. Every time I always try to bring up a plan or just talk about something that I desire, that your parents or your boomer parents might act like they are interested in your desires, but it's kind of like they'll try to like say, okay, go ahead, so you can shut up, but they'll try to critique you any way possible form, so you can regret the decision. Because obviously, your boomer parents still believe that they are smarter, they believe they're harder workers, they believe this and that. Because obviously, they have this arrogance of believing that they're much more wiser than the younger generation. But sometimes the boomer parents lived in a very different time where they had a lot of help from the government. They lived in this golden age of the U.S., where the U.S. basically back in the day was very wealthy. It had a stability. Now it's not the same thing anymore, and this is something that started to really bug me about boomers. Not just my parents, but even boomers. They used to criticize the younger generation for having a very different perspective of life. Because apparently the boomers, it was work, get married, have the kids, have your retirement, enjoy your house, enjoy whatever. And yesterday, I was at this specific work project doing some subhuman job, but at least I was getting paid for it. Just, conversating with a lot of these retired boomers. Now they're in a very worrisome state of mind because a lot of them are losing their 401k, which we all know what's going on. And, I was like, I wanted to say, I think us millennials already told you so, don't expect too much anymore. This is a different decade. A lot of these boomers that I used to criticize or try to debate about the how I look at the world now. They used to criticize me. They humiliated me in front of everybody by calling me lazy, stupid, you name it. And now a lot of these boomers are crying. There's like they're coming up to me now and asking for advice, and I'm not. I'm a nobody. Like I am not an economist, sorry, or a guy that can give them advice. Which I know I kind of have some ideas, but I'm not giving it to nobody anymore. Screw it. Boomers thought they were in a better position. They thought they were better than everybody. Now they're facing reality. This is why blackpil. It's very unique. It's not like just a typical lifestyle or a typical mentality. It's like it's reality. A lot of these boomers are getting their world rocking. Now they're losing their 401k, their retirement money. Now they are starting to realize that all their hard work that they dedicated to the corporations, to the business, to everything, instead of spending time with their children, trying to give them some advice or even encourage their kids to do better, because apparently for them, all their hard work and dedication for corporate, for money, for their just dedicating 40 years of their entire life to work, they believed that they were going to set the example of what is prosperity, and now they're facing a different reality. They're losing everything now. Boomers are going to try to like latch on to their sons who are still in working conditions. I'm still working, I'm still able to see money. A lot of these boomer parents are going to do whatever they can to try to keep their younger kids now from marrying, from having any children. Now boomers, some of them, like one of my parents, it's like, don't have any kids, enjoy your life. Life is getting difficult. Why would you want to suffer? But in reality, it's more, it's don't have kids, support me until I'm no longer with you guys. It's just very funny, and I'm seeing a lot of boomers hitting the ground very quickly. So my final advice is, if your parents keep criticizing your decisions, that means they don't really have a specific interest in your decisions. They want to control your life any certain way, whether it's economic, um, dating, you name it. Just keep a distance. Do your own thing. At the end of the day, your boomer parents are not going to be able to save you from anything else because now they're facing reality. They're losing their arrogance, mentality, ideology because they like I say, they thought they were the wisest generation of all time. Now it's a thing of the past, and now they're realizing that they were fooled by the system. So that's what I got for you guys today. Something that I wanted to share with you guys because it was very interesting yesterday. So you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe, have fun, whatever. Peace out.